Hi, welcome. Welcome in the lab. I'm Borre from ByBorre, and thank you for having me at the Dutch Digital Day. Very pleased to be able to speak with me and my colleague that I will introduce later. Happy to speak about my world and my fascination of textile and how that actually became a fascination that is linked and totally digitized. As you all know, maybe not realize, but know, is you're born wrapped in textile and the rest of your life you're engaged with textile. Well, that was also my fascination, and this is how I got into the textile industry, like it was 16 years ago. And this fascination became something that I was intrigued by, started researching, wanted to be at the machines. This is one of the machines, one of the big circular knitting machines that a lot of the textile we wear is made on. But one thing that I didn't realize back then was that that whole industry was not digitized. That whole industry was scaled in the Industrial Revolution and was scaled by more people, more machines, more financially efficient by moving it to countries where the raw materials were cheaper and where the labor was cheaper. But in the last decade, but we have been working on it, and when I met my business partner in 2015, we started actually looking at how could we make this more efficient. And we started translating the way of how we worked with the machines, and I was having dialogues with the machines. How could I work with the machine and the technician and the software of the machine? How can I work with the technician of the machine? And bit by bit, we started to make our own software that we called Pixel to Needle. Well, that gave us the freedom to create textiles ourselves, and we used that for our own showcase. Back in the days, that was our collection of clothing. But we did that for 11 seasons, and in those seasons, every season we showed how we pushed the boundaries of the machines and how we evolved our software on the back end. And in 2020, in the beginning of the year, we were working on our Series A investment round, and we were looking at the digitization on the back end, but also it was the moment that, of course, COVID hit. And we realized that we were growing our label bigger and bigger, but we were known for how we could work more free with the machines, but also how we had more access to better yarns, better production ways. And we realized if we wanted to make more impact, that was not something that we could keep for ourselves. And while COVID hit, we also realized that in the world we needed to do less and better. You don't want to be part of the problem, especially building like a brand where there are already so many brands. So we saw that actually our creation of textile was more transparent. We were able to use better materials and made all the steps digital so we could access it better ourselves. And that realization came that if we really want to make impact, that we could not keep for ourselves. We started to, I don't have to tell you when the world changed, when everybody could use the building blocks of technology, open source. And we realized, what are the building blocks of the textile industry? So we said, let's open the sources of those building blocks. All the good yarns, all the good machines, all the locations of productions, and how can we build an infrastructure for this? And how can we build software that is accessible for everybody? And this was the start of ByBorre Create, and later on also our own textile collection, ByBorre Textiles. Well, I want to introduce you today to my colleague, the lead of our digital team that has built ByBorre Create and is building now the whole digital world, and we'll deep dive into this a little bit further. And I want to thank you and wish you a great and inspiring day. So with no further ado, I want to introduce you to Charlie Duong. Thank you very much.
All right, let's get it. How's everyone doing today? Nice. A really good start to the day. Well, firstly, I want to thank Dutch Digital Day for having ByBorre, and also for Borre doing the introduction to kind of introduce you guys to what we do as a company, and also the change that we're trying to make for planet, for people, and for textiles. So I want to briefly introduce myself. So my name is Charlie Duong. I'm the head of digital product at ByBorre. You're probably asking what that means and how does that apply to textiles. But basically, it's exactly what Borre is saying, is that for us to make positive change with the clothing that you guys are all wearing, how you guys dry yourself off in the morning, what you guys cover yourself up with when you guys go to sleep, that has impact on the earth, and also the choices that you make regarding those things also has impact. So what I do, and together with the team, is basically how can we take that and actually bring it closer to the human experience. So my background for the last 10 plus years has really been bridging the gap between digital and physical. And this is what has brought me to ByBorre. So today, well, Borre already gave you guys a brief introduction of why we're doing what we do, and today I want to actually speak on what we do exactly and how we are doing it, and to really touch upon how we're opening the source in the industry, and also alongside that, how we digitize the textile supply chain. But before we go into that, I want to kind of paint you guys a bit of a picture. So you guys saw a bit of our knit lab. These are some imageries of all of us working in our studio. And basically, ByBorre is a team of 50 individuals that include myself, digital specialists like yourself, but also knitters, machine engineers, supply chain managers, brand specialists, creative developers, creative technologists that are really building the future of the textile industry. And before I kind of dive into ByBorre Create, I want to, maybe you guys know, but maybe you don't, that also the textile industry is the second most polluting industry in the world behind, let's say, agriculture and food and all of those other things. And textiles is something that everyone engages with, so you guys are all wearing it, you know, we interact with it every single day, but yet it's something that is not tracked, right? So it is virtually impossible. And let's say there's strides that have been made in the food and agricultural industry, but let's just say for textiles, it's utterly impossible to kind of track the impact. Where are the raw materials coming from? What is the life cycle? What is, basically, where are these things coming from? So basically, if you can think about it, the t-shirt or the pair of pants or your underwear, it's traveled probably more places than you can imagine. So, with that being said, the reason why that is because the industry is extremely siloed. So basically what Borre is saying is that he had to push all the way into the supply chain. So the machine manufacturers are not talking to the yarn specialists. Let's say the digital specialists maybe are not speaking with the people who actually make the products. I think everyone here maybe also understands these kind of dynamics in all the different industries that you guys work in. So that's a bit about the industry, and I want to talk about what we do. And I think this illustration best illustrates, essentially, in very simple terms, what we do. We allow for a creator, someone who works in textiles, someone who designs textiles, designers, product engineers, to really do three things. At the end of the day, we want them to get their textile that's fit for purpose and will be sustainable, meaning many different things. Long life, circularity, and many other things. And we allow for the user to do three things: to design it digitally, to rapid sample here in Amsterdam, and then once they find the textile of their needs, they produce at bulk. It probably sounds really simple, but this is not how the industry is working right now at all. So what Borre is talking about is that actually you have to go from the product and you have to work your way all the way to the raw material. And as you all know, it's never that simple. So yes, you interact with something on the screen, but there's a huge supply chain that exists outside. So the machines, where the raw materials come from, the consumers, and what we're saying is that we take all of those things and actually give you access to the supply chain. So instead of having to push all the way into the industry, you can make fit-for-purpose products digitally accessed through your screen and then physically receiving it to create the products of your dreams. And Borre spoke a bit about pixel to needle. So this is kind of the engine behind what we do. And basically, this is the best illustration. So if you look at this UI, what we're allowing for a user to do, and this is, let's take an artwork. You want to create an anatomic chair, and you want to map it onto some textiles to make a deck chair. This is something that Ninka did, which is an Amsterdam-based artist. And basically, what we can allow for the user to do is actually map pixels to inches in a stitch. Meaning, just say that circular knitting machine that you're looking at can read zeros and ones, and we just have to create those rhythms. And those rhythms will result in the textile. So it can be anything. You can have Hello Kitty on your textile if you care for that, or Dutch Digital Day, but anyone can design and visually execute textiles on the screen. Another way that we open up the supply chain is also creating textile passports. So you're probably asking, what's a textile passport? Once again, it's really difficult for us to track where these materials come from. So we work day in, day out to actually, whatever you make with us, we will create a textile passport. And that textile passport will then allow for you to know where the raw materials come from, what are the water usage per meter of textile, also the emissions, but also just in general, what are the materials? Where do they come from? Who is the supplier? And we give this to anyone who makes a textile with us. So next, I want to talk about our clients and the people that we work with. So we work in fashion, automotive, furniture, and we mainly focus in the furniture sector, as those products will be used, ideally, for a very long time. And what we do, and this is a project that we just premiered in Milan Design Week, and this is with La Palma, which is an Italian furniture brand. And this experience, but also textile, is with an AI called Louisa. So they built an AI and plugged it into our ByBorre Create system to actually really create what Louisa would want as her interior. What does Louisa's living room look like? What does Louisa's bedroom look like? So you can see we start to kind of basically take something that's very manually done and start to link those into modern day technology. Another one that's very fashion forward is Palace Skateboards. And together with Palace Skateboards, we created, well, they wanted to create a 90s style bomber, inspired by the streets and the signs and the graphics of Chinatown. You guys are probably very familiar with these things. If you go to Zeedijk, you also see this style of artwork. So in ByBorre Create, they were able to execute this vision. So how will it aesthetically look? And create their unique, very own textile. And then the other one is DMA Footwear, which is an Italian footwear brand. And for their 30th anniversary, they wanted to make a collection that's really inspired by back then, so in the 90s. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but I feel old. But yeah, they were able to really execute this, and this is one of the second projects that we've done together, and they're a trusted client of ours to really make fit-for-purpose textiles that are unique and that really fit the purpose of what they need this product to perform and how to perform. So, as you can imagine, textiles goes beyond your imagination. It can go anywhere. You know, you interact with it every single day, and the journey that leads to textiles' existence still remains really unquestioned. So it might sound like we're trying to solve global warming and world hunger and all of these things, but it's really just that big, is that we interact with it all day. You will do it throughout today, when you go home, and in the future. And we need to do something about it because, for example, a lot of clothing that gets made, sometimes if it's not sold, also just lands up in a landfill. And you also should start thinking about how often or how durable the products that you're really buying, to buy less and to actually go towards quality. And with that, I want to leave you with something, and also my team is also here, so throughout this event, if you have sort of questions, we're super happy to answer them, is that what is the change that we see? So if we talk about the digital side of things, and what we can do to impact the textile industry is that we need to bring textiles closer and the customer experience way closer to the consumer. So now the most, let's say, obvious thing is that we buy products. But if we can bring the design and to have that conversation with you guys and many others, we can actually make that change, because it's not just those manual steps, but we can actually make a change that will better planet Earth and all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Charlie and Borre on video. We do have time for a few questions here, so if you are on the browser window, please feel free to get them through. And in the meantime, I can ask you, what do you think the textile industry can teach other industries? So outside of the textile industry, I can see that you're trying to revolutionize it from the inside, but where do you think it can go next?
So I think one thing that really sticks, and that I believe in textiles it applies to many other industries, is the fact that a lot of work really needs to happen in the supply chain. So meaning us as digital specialists, not only to create very beautiful, innovative products, but also to actually plug ourselves into where the products are being made. So in my past career, I worked with automotive brands, but let's say in my young design career, I really cared about the craft of making great UI and design, and also to make tech that supports these clients, but I never really dove into the supply chain. Like, what does it take to make a vehicle? So similar to textiles, so what I can learn and what I can give is that whatever industry you're working in, please try to dive into the supply chain. Talk to the people that actually do those manual steps that allow for us to enjoy these beautiful products, and from there we can make change.
Brilliant, thank you. And what's your next project?
Yeah, good one. Let's see. What we're working on now is to pretty much start to improve upon what we've built for ByBorre Create. And together with the team, we're really looking at how can we, let's say you want to create a textile, that's step one, which we've been able to do for the last couple of years. And the next step is really, can we start to influence the supply chain a bit better? So can we allow for people to make products with it digitally as well? So that's something that we're tackling next.
Brilliant. Very well done to Rebecca, who has asked, what kind of internships do you offer?
Anyone you want.
Oh. You are going to get mobbed in the break, just so that you know.
Let's say we have a really great team of interns right now. So we have interns in our digital product team working on ByBorre Create. We have interns in customer success, but also internships for people that want to learn about knitting as well. So let's say we have an intern that comes from a more graphical background, but then can apply his graphical background to something that's a little bit more physical. So I think it actually, we're very open to those things as well, and for people to join the mission.
Brilliant, Charlie. Thank you ever so much.
Yeah.
Everybody, it is ByBorre, one half and the other half on video. Thank you.
Thank you.